Hello and welcome to the Plumbing Open Event webinar. I'll shortly be handing you over to our Head of Department, Gary Morgan, who will be delivering a very short presentation for you. We'll have a live Q&A session at the end of the presentation, so please do feel free to type any questions you have in the chat box. You can find this in the top right-hand side of your screen. This webinar will be recorded and available to view later on our website later on this week. So I'd like to now hand over to Gary. Gary.
Thanks, Chris. Good morning. Welcome to our virtual open event. As Chris has said, my name is Gary Morgan. I'm the Head of Department for Plumbing. And I'm going to take you through a short presentation just to give you some key information, and hopefully then we'll be able to answer any other questions at the end. Okay, so we're just going to talk a little bit about facilities, a bit about course information, and actually just try and give you that overview and try and assure you that, you know, Oaklands College is the right choice for your son or daughter. If I'm a bit echoey today, it's because I'm doing it from inside the plumbing workshop. Unfortunately, due to a Wi-Fi issue, I've decided I'm going to do it with the background on so that I don't strain the network. And talk a little bit about student successes, how you can apply, and as Chris said, then at the end, if there's any questions, type them in as we go through, and then we can answer them off. So Oakland's it's got two campuses. The plumbing is actually delivered at the Smallford campus. Really exciting. We've got great workshops. We've got new workshops being developed. I don't know if you've noticed any of that on the social media sites, or if you live in Hertfordshire, it might well have been in the local newspapers. But we've got level 1, level 2 workshops, and then we're developing level 3 because the college is very committed to the new apprenticeship standard, which is that 4-year, so like old apprenticeships, where it's 4 years, you're committed and you work your way through and do your specialism in your last year. Again, we've got sponsored bays, we've got all the sort of the usual facilities you'd expect to see. These pictures do give a little bit of an idea of how big and expansive the actual level 1 and level 2 workshop is. And the level 3 workshop is very specialist because it goes into those gas and boiler and the more industry specific units, if you like, whereas level 1, level 2 is getting everybody ready, getting them competent. So lots of health and safety, lots of processes, lots of working on those skills that will set them up for life. Okay, so you've got some pictures there that you can have a little look at whilst I just tell you about our portfolio, if you like. So we start at level 1, so level 1 diploma in plumbing. Again, that's just for those students who didn't maybe get the attainment in their GCSEs, or they haven't done anything practical before and they need to develop the hand skills, the ability to measure and mark out, you know, because all of that right from the outset is very important. The tolerances get more precise, obviously, as you work up through your level 2. So we've got a technical certificate in plumbing all the way up to level 3, the advanced technical. And again, at any point, once a student's completed their level 1, you'll hear me say it later in the presentation, they can start looking for apprenticeships. So there's something for everybody, including the adult, so community learning. So we've got part-time qualifications, it's level 2 plumbing. So it's called fast track. So it is more for people that have got a little bit of competency already with using tools, and they're looking to either get a qualification because they've been doing the work, or they're looking to break into it, but they've maybe done other trades. So something for everyone starting down at level 1. And again, I haven't mentioned the apprenticeships because the apprenticeship team will be doing their own presentation talking to you about that. But we do the level 3, the new standard, which is the 4-year apprenticeship. And I'm sure you'll hear all about that if you go to the apprenticeship presentation. What qualification is right for you? This is always a tricky one. So we've got entry requirements, but also there's about what students are ready for. So we start with our entry requirements. So 3 GCSEs, for example, if you're looking at level 2, maths, science, very important, as I'm sure you'll appreciate in a STEM subject such as building service engineering, which plumbing is part of. But again, when your sons or daughters start with the college, and we've had it this year as well, if they show that their GCSEs were a blip because it was an exam and maybe they're doing better, then we obviously look to move them up and put them onto the most appropriate level so that they can make the right progress. Really is dependent upon how much practical exposure somebody's had as well, because It's not as easy to cut and measure and get things precise, and then getting confident using and soldering torches and all of those different things. We want to put people on at the right level so that they can get that right starting point and then move on through. Okay, but routinely students would start at level 1, level 2. It's very uncommon for someone to start in at level 3 unless they've done their level 2 with another college, just because of the amount of underpinning knowledge they would have missed. The level 2 is actually a very intensive and in-depth course covering just about all the topics, but you can speak to the team about that at the end if you want any more precise information on that. So if you're not an adult studying, so if you're an adult, you wouldn't be doing a study program. Study program is the government's model for delivering learning to 16 to 18-year-olds. So within that, it's kind of a package. So they do the plumbing, level 2 diploma, level 1 diploma. So there's that nationally recognised qualification. If you don't have maths and English at grade 4 or above, or grade C, you then, government initiative, you have to keep working through that. That shouldn't be a problem for students studying or wanting to get into engineering or building service engineering, because again, the maths and the English, very, very important moving forward, because we don't want all students just thinking they'll be on tools. You know, there's design offices, there's all sorts of different opportunities within building service engineering once they've got the competence and they've worked for a little bit. Working is very important, so we're always looking for developing the employability skills, and there is a mandatory work experience element. So things are very challenging at the moment for work experience, but there always are a challenge in the construction sectors. So what we encourage students to do, even before they've started in college, start thinking about, where could I do my work experience? Who could I do that with? Do I have a friend of the family? Do I know an organisation? As part of the college course, the employability skills are being developed. So timekeeping, time management is very important. You know, teamwork, collaboration, all the skills that we know are important for employers that will then help our students have a real good edge by the time they hit that, I want to get an apprenticeship or I'm ready for work. And again, we do have excellent links with local companies. We've got, again, I mentioned the apprenticeship program. We've got some very, very big local employers that routinely take 3, maybe 4 apprentices. And obviously that means that there's a lot of good relationship between us and them. And we try and promote our students. We can't say our students should be the students that an employer hires, but we do invite employers in. We get them to come into the workshop, talk to the students, get to meet them, just to try and cement that relationship, to try and help the transition. And then personal skills. Again, you know, the world, everybody needs to be able to understand how to manage their health, you know, mental and physical, being able to carry out their daily life without being unsafe, whether that be using online or in just regular practices. We've got a great careers advice team, you know, but as part of their PDR, so that's personal development and review, they will actually be having constant talks and interactions, and visitors come in just to talk about all the different aspects that are really, really important to make it a rounded experience. So the type of learning, so the lessons, the way it's timetabled is almost a 50-50 split between a workshop, because as I said, it's all about skills, it's about being confident and competent, and then the theory, because, you know, just like any qualification, there is lots of online exams. There's online learning that we use, though. We use the platforms to try and encourage and develop everybody to be able to cope with that. But again, practical exams, so you have to be able to do a bathroom. You don't describe how to do a bathroom, for example, you have to be able to do it. You have to be able to bend the pipe. You have to be able to do the activities. It's a great vocational pathway, and it's something that if you think you're good with your hands, you'll fit into it quite nicely. But I really must stress the exam content as well. So the maths, the English, the science, plumbing is not just bending pipes and soldering. That's just for labouring jobs. Nothing wrong with those jobs, by the way. When I first started, I laboured for my uncle. So you do need to start somewhere, but we want to just stress that's why the starting point's really important. You know, what you can cope with, what you're ready for, And just because you're really, really good with practical skills, if you're on the level 2, there's 9 exams as it currently stands. That is changing actually, which very interestingly is going to be changing to a model that now is very similar to apprenticeships. So they have what's known as synoptic assessments. So basically they test you at the end, like in the old days. So you're learning all the way through, you have formative checks, make sure that you're coping, you're learning, you're able to apply that knowledge. But the real assessments come right near the end of the course, just to gauge what have you learned, what have you retained, how ready are you for the next step. So there's tutor presentations, as I said, practical sessions. In a normal year, there's lots of group, individual activities. That's to build the team, collaboration, the working together. We've got, as all colleges will have, a learning environment. We use Canvas. So within Canvas, there's mock assessments, so getting people ready for the online exams. There's research activities, there's videos, there's all sorts of different methods used to engage so that it's not, and I do need to stress this, colleges are not chalk and talk. Okay, there's lots of doing, there's lots of activity, lots of engagement. Oaklands has got their own app. Again, I say that, but I'm sure most colleges now are working towards that. But Oaklands has got an app that integrates the information so that you'll be able to check how your son and daughter's doing. They'll be able to check how they're doing. Teachers input to it. You know, the actual ILP that the app feeds to is owned by the student. You know, it's really, really important that, you know, that they take ownership of that learning. But again, if you wanted to have a look at it, it's free to download. So anybody wanting to check out and compare, you'd be able to do that. It's really, really full of information, and, you know, student council, everything would be on that. So I've mentioned a lot about what the teaching is, but again, there's a lot of support in place. So I said PDR, so that's a tutor that does the pastoral care or talking about those life skills and, you know, trying to cement in, you know, how I'm going to be able to cope in modern society and what's modern society like. But everybody gets a personal tutor as well. So the personal tutor is responsible for a particular cohort of students. They will make sure that, one, they're okay, they're enjoying the course, there's no problems. They mediate between other tutors, because there may well be that I'm doing well on a particular unit but not another. So the personal tutor would then speak to the unit tutor and say, okay, what's going on with Gary? You know, is Gary struggling? Is this a personality? But it's right there. It's somebody at that single point of contact that your son or daughter will be able to go to and discuss in course or other issues. You know, now those other issues could well then lead into where the personal tutor will contact student advisors. They will make referrals. They will help. They won't try and support what they're not qualified to do, but what all personal tutors will know, where to direct somebody within the college so that they can get the right support in a timely way. Okay, that includes financial support. It's not just about emotional or how am I doing with my course. Could be that I need a little bit of help with other aspects. You know, I need to borrow a laptop. I need to be able to get some travel or food support. And that personal tutor and the college strives to make sure they have regular contact with parents and carers. Lots of our systems are automated. Sometimes that's really, really great. Sometimes it makes mistakes and sends out messages that says such and such didn't do this or didn't do that. But again, there's that regular contact to clear that up. But the personal tutor would be then that first point of call for a parent or a carer as well. So it's so that somebody knows somebody that they can go directly to. Again, I mentioned the mandatory work experience, but it's not just all about saying you've got to go and find it or you've got to go and find your apprenticeship. Again, there's an additional element that the college has. So they've got dedicated employability mentors, the careers advisors. There's lots and lots of that engagement to try and help me understand what career I want to do, or how do I get into it, or how do I do that initial contact because I really want to do that work experience. So they will be introduced very early on in the start of next academic year for those students, but students are tapping into that right now just to try and get the help they need to get into that placement that they think this is really what I want to do. So the college has got that dedicated team that are able to support and do a really good job with that. Okay, so I'm not going to read through the list of employers, you'll be able to do that. But again, it really is about knowing that lots of employees engaged with lots of colleges, but you can see on there, you know, Volker Fitzpatrick, they're very much with the HS2. So there's lots and lots going on there. We're working over in Luton, Herts County Council. The employability team maintain these relationships, and then the departments will actually work directly with them to turn around and get the exposure for the students, or have them just come in and give a little talk. You know, Wilmot Dixon, they will come in and they'll give a little talk. There's a picture of bricklayers. I'll get that updated, because we do have plumbers going out and having that same experience. So we've got Affinity Water, we've got Barratt Homes. So there's lots and lots of breaking it down into those sub trades, letting people know what they can do and what opportunities are available for them. And I think the picture's there because these brickwork students were actually doing a community project, which was obviously a really big important part of what the college does. It's supporting the community and engaging with the community as well. So it is about jobs, it is about training, but it's about that whole holistic, let's be involved and let's be recognised for the right things. Okay, so some of the actual employers that, so Bosch Worcester, Worcester Bosch, sorry, they noted boilers. Arctic Hayes have converted one of the bays. I'm in the workshop, I'm looking at it now. They put in their kit so that can actually be shown to the students. We had a small company, well, not a small company, a luxury company come over from Wee Hampstead, and they came in and spoke to the students, and they've already done that this year. They said, look, this is what we're looking for, this is what you need to do. And they're exploring now what opportunities can be provided for our current students. So we're hoping to foster and continue to build that relationship. But again, the big thing about the department is that the students do progress from level 1 to level 2. That might be they start looking for an apprenticeship, but they routinely will then go, if they can't find an apprenticeship, onto level 2. Then by level 2, they're really looking at apprenticeships. But again, there is that option for level 3, if for whatever reason they haven't managed to secure that. And again, 96% of students, when they return that information, they tell us that they have, either we know they've moved on, or we know we've tracked them into apprenticeships. Okay, so this is just the steps of, you know, okay, how do I apply for a course? You know, I really want to a little bit more, maybe have an actual visit when we can get those going again. And I think there is the scope to turn around and do some small visits when they can be set up properly. But so you go to the college website, you know, apply for the course you like. Hopefully it would be plumbing. The admissions team then review your application, they have a look at it, see where your quals are at, what you're telling us in terms of the information. Then you'll receive an email offer. So we've done a little bit differently. You know, you don't necessarily have to have an interview. You can contact us because you've got questions, but you know, we're able to look at that and say, right, okay, well, there's an offer based on what you've, you know, said that your predicted grades are. Then you get your grades from school, then you come along to the college around about the end of August, and then we do the enrolment process. And then the last step is, hopefully, you start with us in September because you chose Oaklands College where you want to begin or carry on your education. We do have students transferring as well, so it's not all new students who haven't done something before. As I mentioned, we get students who've done level 2 come in to do the level 3 with us. Okay, so I mean, this slide is just to say about all the wonderful social media content, all the different ways that you can interact with the college. We're actually on hand now. I'm gonna just move through to the last slide just to show just a little bit more information that I want whilst we will take questions. But again, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube. As Chris said at the outset, once this is finished and recorded, it will be available up on YouTube, and anyone who missed or anyone who wants to review again will be able to go over it, see the slides, see the tutors, see the names, have an idea of who you might want to talk to. And again, oaklands.ac.uk if you're looking to apply. And please do, you know, because you can always apply for a course and you can apply for multiple courses and then you can check them out. This is just about being able to get further information and engagement with the college. Okay, so thank you for listening. I hope I haven't spoken too much and waffled on, I tend to, but I hope I've given enough key information. But if we haven't, then obviously now we've got a little bit of time for Q&A and any questions that might have come through whilst doing the presentation. And again, there's a link there, you can get the guide and you can get the additional information from the website. Okay.
Lovely. Thank you, Gary. So we're now going to take some of the questions that we've had through. We've had some brilliant questions. The first question comes from Sarah. Sarah asks, with the part-time level 2 course, how many hours is it a week and is it taught in the evenings?
Okay, yep, so it's 6 hours in the week, so it's 3 hours one night, 3 hours another, and it is an evening course, yes.
Perfect, thank you very much. Another question that we've had asked is, do I need to wear a uniform?
Well, I'm gonna let one of the team answer this because they're very passionate about why a uniform is important. So, Eden, Dean, do you want to answer that one?
Yeah, uniform wise, if you're a full-time student, then you do need to wear a uniform. If you're an evening student, not so much. PPE, boots are a must. You can't come in the workshop without boots. And uniform wise, it's partly so that you can be recognised. The other side of it is so you're not actually ruining your own clothes. So that you're not waking up in the morning thinking, what can I put on that I'm not going to ruin, putting my designer jeans on, coming in the workshop, leaning on something like, say, Flux, for example, which stains your clothes. It hopefully gives the students a bit of respect about themselves and bit of part of them feeling like they're a team. Yeah, helps them get recognised around the area. It's nice for us as a staff team to get feedback from how good our students look, where they're wearing a uniform. In industry, that's generally standard now. Most companies will wear a uniform. If yourselves have got someone knocking at your door, come to do a bit of work, it just gives that right impression straight away. And it gets the students ready for work, if you like. When we have visitors coming in from different companies that are coming in to do a talk, they nearly always comment on how professional our students look, where they're wearing a uniform. So it does have a very positive impact on the actual work environment. It puts people in the right mindset as well. So they're wearing a uniform, they're here to do their plumbing course straight away.
Thanks, Dean.
So yeah, it is very important. One of the biggest reasons, recognition, and so that they're not messing up their own clothes.
I think as well, I'm just going to add into that obviously we're very, very proud of the plumbing department, and we want our students to be very, very proud to be part of that plumbing department as well. It's the same with electrical installation, but we're talking about plumbing for this. But thanks, Dean. That's summed up.
Yeah, sorry, one last thing on that is the company that we refer people to get their uniform is very well priced. So the amount of money that it would cost for a uniform through the company that we go for is generally a lot less than if you used to walk into a normal high street or builder's yard to get your kit. So that's a positive where we send so many people there. They do give us good discounts.
Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you very much. We've had another question come through that asks, I'll combine the two. Are there any equipment that needs to be purchased before joining, and are the lessons mostly practical?
Lessons are mixed. Sorry, if anyone else wants to cut in, feel free, but lessons are mixed. You've got basically sort of more or less 50-50 split with theory and practical. So equipment wise in the practical workshop is your uniform, your PPE, so boots and your uniform. Also a high vis is part of it, so that you're easy spotted around the workshop, and on site that's what you'd be doing. So other than your uniform in the workshop, you don't need to buy any tools. So the equipment that we expect you to bring in the practical is things like a pen, pencil and a permanent marker. So you can mark up your work so you recognise your work against somebody else's, because if you imagine lots of people are doing the same sort of work, it can easily get mixed up if we don't mark it up properly. In the theory lessons, we expect that everybody as a standard will bring a notepad, pens, pencils, sharpeners, just your normal stationery stuff. And there are plumbing books that we can recommend that you buy that goes along with your course. There's some books that you're allowed in certain exams as a reading resource. That's not all the exams, but it is books that you would need as industry standard. Yeah, but we would let you know of what books, because they do change year to year. There's also, I mean, a lot of the stuff is on Canvas, the college system. So the amount of resources that are on there, there's lots of resources on there to support the students.
It is really important just to stress, I mean, I did mention in the presentation, but you know, this is not just a practical course. This is a vocational course, and the academic demands of particularly level 2 and then level 3 do require the note taking, you know, and actually building up a portfolio of evidence that I can refer back to, particularly where there's going to be a synoptic assessment at the end.
We do expect students that they don't only come into college, they also do some revision at home, especially when they've got an exam coming up, because there is so much to learn.
Lovely, thank you very much. So I think that's all of the questions that we've had for now. If you do have any further questions after the webinar has ended, please do get in touch with us via the contact details on our website. We hope you found this webinar helpful, and thank you very much for listening and joining us today. If you'd like to join any other webinars throughout the day or find out any more about our other subjects, please return to our Virtual Open Day page using either the same link or going via our website. Thank you very much for joining us. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.